Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is LaWanda. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys. And today is a little bit of a different video for me, but I wanted to come on and talk about my walking challenge. Back in October, I did a 31-day walking challenge, and I posted all of my daily walks on Instagram. So please check that out at I am LaWanda Bird. I wanted to come on here and kind of do an overview of my reasoning why I did the 31-day challenge, as well as my results of the challenge. It's taken me several months because the holidays came up and everything was going on, but actually now is the perfect time for me to sort of come on and talk about this, talk about what I learned, as well as things that I will continue to do going forward. All right, so back in October, I literally woke up one day on October 1st and said I'm going to do this 31-day walking challenge. There were a couple things that were going on with me before that happened. So one was that, I had gone to the doctor for my annual physical, and my blood work was not terrible, but it wasn't great. So my cholesterol was a little bit high. My A1C was sort of borderline pre-diabetic, and it had been that way kind of for the last 2 years. I've been very busy, and I had not been really doing those things to benefit and serve myself and my health. And so that was one of the things. The other thing, which was a major thing for me, probably the most major factor, is that earlier last year, I know that I started to experience perimenopause symptoms. I had been probably experiencing them for the last couple of years, but last year they were really acute, right? I was dealing with certainly all of the hormonal changes. I was dealing with the weight gain. I was dealing with brain fog. Just my mental alertness was not there. Yeah, just having headaches. There were so many symptoms that were associated with perimenopause that I felt like I was not in control at all. So I had gone to my GYN to have a conversation about it, and she had prescribed me some low dose estrogen, I think, pills to take. And so all of this was supposed to commence in October. I was supposed to start taking the medicine to help me deal with the perimenopause, as well as I had gotten my lab work. And I really didn't want to do any additional medications. I didn't want to do any additional medicine, and I had always sort of been in control of my health, of my body. I was a Division I athlete, track and field athlete in college. I went to Michigan State University, go green. I had always been healthy. I taught a body pump, body weightlifting class. I taught that class for many years. I've just always been active and healthy, and in the last few years, a lot of things about my life, my health, my activity level had really changed. And so I thought, I want to try to do something to take back control of my life, of my health, and all these things. I have a few notes because I want to stay on target with sort of what I'm talking about. Also, another thing is that I was feeling, as a result of the perimenopause, I was having a lot of sleep disruption. The sleep disruption was really causing me to not feel well because I didn't feel rested. So there was another thing that I thought walking would help. My goal was to walk for 30 minutes every day. It started out at 40 minutes. Each day I ended up walking anywhere between 45 and 60 minutes. So my walks were really long because I got out there and I was just enjoying the walking. I walked during the month where we had a hurricane here in Florida, and I thought for sure that I wouldn't be able to do my walk, but we had breaks in the hurricane. On the mornings that I would walk, we had breaks in the weather. Oh my goodness, guys! Welcome to day 9 of the October Walking Challenge. Guys, we are getting it in. It has been raining all night. There was a little break in the rain, and I looked at the weather app, and it said that it's supposed to break for like 5 minutes and then come back, but this is a drizzle. I've walked in much worse than this, guys. We are getting it in. And I would go out and get my walk. I managed to walk for 31 days. And I can tell you that the accountability that talking about this publicly and posting this publicly and having people to join me, the accountability that brought me was so instrumental in me being able to just overcome all of the odds to walk and to do this challenge. Also, I am very sort of disciplined and objective. So if I have a goal, especially if it's a time limited goal where I see the end point, I can do it. If I set my mind to it, I could do it. And I wanted to reprove to myself that I did have that discipline, that determination to get this done. And so there was a lot sort of riding on this challenge for me. During this walking challenge, I learned so many things. One of the first things that I learned was that the time of the day that you walk matters. And I was having a conversation with my physician, and I had told her that I had just recently started, because I think I saw my doctor within the first week of me doing this walking challenge, that I had recently started this walking challenge. She said, keep doing that. And actually, the time of the day that you walk may be beneficial, because she had patients that also started walking, and the only thing that they did differently was that they started walking and they would walk within 30 minutes after eating a meal. And she said that the differences and the improvements that she saw clinically was very significant. So she says, definitely go ahead and keep walking, but whenever you can walk after a meal, it's just proven to be that much more beneficial. It helps with insulin levels, blood sugar, and all of those things. During this challenge, I just became a lot more engaged with studying and researching about health and wellness. So when I was doing my walks, I would be listening to YouTube creators that were offering a lot of education on health and perimenopause, and I started looking up fasting. I also learned about this concept called zone 2 cardio. And guys, for me, this was life changing. And the reason why is because it involved low impact aerobic activity and keeping your heart level in what they call zone 2. I will post some links and some YouTube videos that I watched where I learned about this. But the reason why this was so encouraging for me is because I have spent my whole life doing very high impact, high intensity workouts and things like that. And I just can't do all of that. I'm not interested in doing all of that. And I needed to find something that worked for me today, because what worked for me 10, 15, 20 years ago was just not working for me today. So basically it says that zone 2 cardio, and I'm just reading here just from some notes. Zone 2 cardio refers to a moderate intensity exercise level that falls within the range of 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. It is considered a foundational level of aerobic training that provides numerous benefits for health and fitness. Some of the benefits that it offers is that it improves cardiovascular health, it burns fat, and this is really, that one was really important to me. It says the intensity level primarily uses fat as fuel, making it an effective way to burn calories and promote weight loss. There's a formula where you calculate what your zone 2 heart rate is. And once you do that formula, you'll know what your heart rate needs to be at to be in zone 2. And it says that for zone 2 cardio to be the most effective, you want to aim for at least 30 minutes of zone 2 cardio most days of the week. And it can be other forms of cardio as well. For me, it was just walking was the easiest. I also found that walking lowered my blood pressure. So I have a blood pressure machine at home that I can take my blood pressure whenever I need to. And I wanted to see what impact that walking was having on my blood pressure. After my walks, when I would take my blood pressure, it was my pulse rate and my blood pressure within like 30 minutes after walking was so low. It just made me feel so healthy. When I was walking, I felt the best that I had felt in a really long time. When my blood pressure went down, my stress levels went down, my anxiety went down, and all these things are issues that I had been dealing with this perimenopause. Because of the low estrogen in perimenopause, low estrogen causes a hormonal reaction where sometimes you can feel in a fight or flight mode. It can raise your heart rate, just make you feel anxious and nervous. And so that was happening to me a lot. And while I was walking, I noticed a drastic difference in my heart rate and my anxiety. As I have been dealing with perimenopause, one of the symptoms that I could count on every month was during that PMS period, the week before my period, I would always have anxiety. I would always feel very anxious. My heart rate would be revving. During the month that I was walking, I did not experience the anxiety attacks, the revved up heart rate during that PMS period. It went away. And it was drastic for me. I noticed it because I almost expected it to happen because it happens every month, guys. It did not happen. I was so committed to walking. With the perimenopause, my PMS has been the worst it's been in my life in terms of how drained and how exhausted it makes me feel. I walked through that because I was committed to my goals. And guys, I felt so much better. It was incredible the difference that walking made in terms of my anxiety levels and my blood pressure and my heart rate being reduced. So that was an amazing experience for me. I also noticed that my sleep quality improved tremendously. So I told you that I've been experiencing disruptions in my sleep because of the perimenopause. But when I was walking, I slept better. I don't know if it was because most of my walks were in the morning, so I would wake up really early in the morning, so that started my day really early. And so by the time the end of the day came, I was just really tired. I'm sure that probably had something to do with it, but the cardiovascular effects and the calming effects that walking provided just really helped me to sleep better, and I began to have some of the best sleep that I had had in over a year or two. And at the beginning of the challenge, I kind of was thinking, oh my goodness, let me wake up, I have to walk again, I have to walk again. But as I was experiencing these benefits, as I was learning more about the benefits that walking offers and, having the tangible and real-time experience of the benefits, I changed my mindset. I changed my perspective from I have to walk to I get to walk. It became something that I looked forward to every day. It became like a reward for me. It became time that I had alone where I could just be alone with my thoughts. I could just decompress. I remember I thought, oh my goodness, this is working so well. I can delay taking the hormone medication to deal with the perimenopause. Like there's something that I can do that puts me more in control of my life, and that was very empowering for me, and so I really appreciated that. I do want to talk about some cons, right? Because there were just a few cons of walking that I want to be transparent about, right? So my joints. I was a Division I athlete. I was a hurdler in college. I put a lot of stress on my joints. And as I've gotten older, I've developed arthritis, like in some of my joints, especially my hip joints, my shoulder joints. I've developed arthritis. While I was walking, I certainly dealt with the joint issues. I certainly dealt with the joint pain in my hips, my shoulders, I was kind of tight. One of the reasons for that as well, if I'm being honest with myself, is my weight, right? The more that I weigh, the more pressure and stress it has on my joints. I started stretching a lot. I did some yoga during that month because I wanted to keep going. And I understood that as I become lighter, then my joints would not hurt as much. And so I continued through it, but my joints did bother me. Also, and now we're going to get to the weight loss portion or lack thereof. Walking made me hungrier. When I was exercising every day like that and getting up early, and I would extend my walks because I was feeling so good out there, I noticed that during the day I was hungrier and I ate more. I certainly ate more, and I ate more, and I didn't feel guilty about it because I thought I just walked for an hour, right? That's really good. I have, more reserve, like I can eat more, and I was just hungrier during the month. So after the walking challenge, I started sort of thinking about that and just trying to understand how to combat that, and what things I needed to do going forward to get all the benefits of the walking without having the or dealing with the side effect of being hungrier. When you walk more and you expend more calories and more energy, your body is going to want more fuel. And so I was hungrier, which contributed to I don't think that I gained weight during the month, but I certainly didn't lose weight. Although I did notice some difference in my waist and the way that my clothes were fitting. They were fitting better. So I do think that I was burning some fat, and I did notice some differences there, but I was just hungrier during the month. When I first started out with the walking and walking so consistently, I experienced some upper respiratory symptoms, some throat symptoms, some nose symptoms, and the conditions were all over the place in October when I was walking. I live in Florida, so it started out really hot, and then we had the hurricane days. We had some days where I walked in the rain. Then we had some days where the temperature was really cold and I just bundled up and walked. So that certainly had something to do with it as well. But even absent all of that, most times when you kind of start an exercise regimen like that, your body, a lot of things in your body break down to be able to build back up. And in that process of breaking down, I did experience some upper respiratory cold-like, slight flu-like symptoms initially. I kept going. I tried to increase my water that I was drinking. I was drinking emergency. I take vitamin D. I was just doing all those things because I understood that this is normal. It happens when you're starting a workout regimen. And so I walked through it and it resolved and I was fine. But that certainly did happen. And then, yeah, some days it was very inconvenient. I'm telling you guys, it was very inconvenient some days. I work from home most of the time, but some days I go into the office, and in order for me to fit it in and to make sure that I get it in, I was walking in the morning. So I would be walking sometimes at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. Just had so much going on, or I would go to sleep late, but I walked through it. I just worked through it, and it showed me the power of mental toughness and mind over matter. Guys, we can will ourselves to do so many things. It just depends upon what is your motivation, what is your inspiration. When you're motivated, when you're inspired, things that once felt like tremendous hurdles or barriers become so easy. They just become so easy, and you kind of think to yourself, why didn't I do this before? Why wasn't I able to do these things before? You need to understand what your why is. And if you have a strong enough why, things just become a lot easier for you to do. And that is what was going on with me. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of a con was just safety. One of the days during the end of my walk, I had probably the scariest experience I've had in my life. I was going into work that morning, and so I wanted to walk early. And I was out there walking, and I noticed a car that was driving slowly towards me. And so I just kept walking, just felt like the car would turn. And when they passed me, they stopped and asked me for directions, how to get out of the neighborhood. And so I just said, I don't know. And I kept walking. And so as I walked by, the guy leaned out of the window and called me the B word or whatever. And the car it looked very odd in the neighborhood. It looked like this guy had his whole life in the car. He was looking very kind of disheveled and things like that. And the fear that set in me, guys. And so I turned down a street that I don't normally go down, just trying to think about my escape. I was like, okay, if this car turns around, where do I go? Do I hide behind a bush? Do I run to someone's house and knock on the door? My adrenaline and my heart was racing so quickly. I have never felt that fearful. I felt vulnerable. I felt scared. And I had a real sense that something could happen in this moment. And I was just trying to think about how to deal with it and what I needed to do. So I cut my walk short. Obviously, I ran home. I just ran home, and I just had to try to decompress and gather myself because I was very shaken. So it just taught me that I need to be careful. Whatever benefits that could happen as a result of walking and all those things are negated if you aren't safe or if something happens. So that was unfortunate, but that did happen. So basically, that was my walking experience. I felt the best that I had felt in years. And so after October, I didn't walk every day, but I continued to walk pretty consistently. And then, the holidays hit, and it was my birthday, and it was Thanksgiving, and all these things, Christmas, and I was traveling with the kids, and we were doing all these things. And so I sort of got off of walking as much as I did. And I've just walked, a few times in January, and that is because, guys, I've been trying some different things. I told you guys that one of my 2025 goals is to lose 50 pounds, right? And so I told you guys that I also noticed that when I was walking, I became hungrier. And so I needed to try to combat that. And so much of the things that I have been reading talked about just the benefits of while you're trying to lose weight and while your body is trying to acclimate to different weight loss strategies, that sometimes it's good to not do exercise at all, to not walk or not do anything at all, and really to focus on the diet as the number one driver of weight loss over exercise. So because of that, I have not been walking a lot, guys, and I've been focusing a lot on intermittent fasting. It helps with weight loss. It's been the most effective helping with weight loss as well as some other benefits. So in the month of January, I've really been priming myself. I've been doing some longer fasts. I've done a couple 36-hour fasts, just trying to see how it feels, how my body feels with that. I've been doing some 20-hour fasts. I've been doing a lot of different things just to kind of figure out what's working for me. And I've had a pretty successful month of January. I have lost about 10 pounds. I was doing well, and then, I had that PMS period that came, which was really hard to deal with, and it made all of my desire, all of my willpower, a lot of it dissipated because the hormones took over and I just wasn't able to respond well. So I have to continue to work on that, because outside of that PMS window, I really do well with fasting. So yeah, so I've been priming my body for what's next. The reason why I'm doing this video today, guys, is I want to tell you about the next challenge that I'm going to do. For the month of February, I'm going to do a intermittent fasting challenge called alternate day fasting. And I chose February intentionally because it's the shortest month of the year. And when I did my walking challenge, I did it in one of the longest months of the year, right? In October with 31 days. But I wanted to do a short month, and I'm going to do alternate day fasting. With alternate day fasting, you basically eat every other day, and you essentially do like a 36-hour fast, and then you eat the next day for 12 hours, and then you go back with a 36-hour fast. So what this would look like, for example, let's say I stop eating on Sunday at 8 p.m. I would fast all day Monday and then eat Tuesday at 8 p.m. So that's essentially what it looks like. And I would eat on Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., a 12-hour window. I could eat during that time, and then I would fast again. I may not do strict alternate day fasting on my fasting days. I have learned that with alternate day fasting, if you need to, you can eat up to a 500 calorie meal, which is about 25% of your body's calorie needs for the day. You can eat 500 calories and it won't have any negative consequence on your fasting results. So I am going to try to do the 36 hours without meals in that time, but I'm going to give myself some grace. If I need to do the 500 calories, I will, and especially around the time of PMS, I know that I will have to. And so I just have to adapt. I just have to do what works for my body so that this is achievable. And because I know it is 28 days, I know the end point, and I will evaluate my results after that. I don't want to do any one thing for the rest of my life. The only thing I want to do is be healthy. But for me, it's going to need to involve some variety, some different things that I do, that I incorporate to meet my goals and then to maintain. So that's why I'm doing this for a short period of time to see how I like it, to see how it works, and then we will evaluate at the end of the month. But I wanted to tell you about this, guys, in case you wanted to do this with me. I will post sort of in my stories. I won't do it on my post like I did the last time, but in my stories, I will post daily snapshots of how the day is going. What's going on, how I'm feeling. I will do that on my story. So please feel free to follow me there and feel free to join me. Now, I would say that there should probably be some prep that goes into this. Like I said, I've been prepping for the entire month of January to be able to do this, because it is not easy, and your body can have a lot of effects from it that's sort of hard to deal with. The hunger is one of them for sure. So you do need to kind of prep before you do this. I am not a doctor. Listen, I am only sharing what works for me, and I will share the updates. I don't need anyone in the comments talking about what I shouldn't do, what all these things, guys. I am sharing this, sharing my life, being transparent for all of you who are experiencing similar things and you want to, see someone else that's going through it, to see what works. That's why I'm sharing this, not for criticism and all of that. If you don't agree with any of the things, you can respectfully not watch my channel. But I'm sharing this, guys, for all of us who can relate and who want to try something that works. So this is what we're doing. So February is Valentine's Day, and I definitely want to eat on Valentine's Day. So the way I'm going to do this, Valentine's Day is on the 14th. So I'm going to start on February 1st with a fast. On the 2nd, I'll do a feast. And when I say feast, I don't mean like feast eating everything in the world, but just normal eating. I'm not eliminating anything. I'm just going to eat whatever I want, whatever I crave. I'm going to eat that on the days that I am feasting, and I feel like I'll owe that to myself. I'm not going to not eat for a whole day and then diet when it's time to eat. I'm not going to do that, but I'll be sharing with you guys how that's going over on Instagram. But yeah, so I'm going to do this to where on the even days, which February 14th will be a day of eating for me. Okay, if I make any adjustments along the way, guys, again, I'll share it over on Instagram, so please follow me over there. But that is my plan, guys. That is what I am going to do. My plan is to do a couple of fasts this week just to get ready for it, keep my body primed and ready and in that fasted state so that I can do this. And yeah, I am excited about it. I'm headed in the right direction, guys. So please feel free to join me. I just wanted to share this with you. I hope this video was not too long. I hope I didn't leave out anything. I may incorporate some walking on my feast days. I definitely will not walk on my fast days. That's too much. But I may do some walking on my feast days, because like I said, I do want, the cardiovascular benefits and all those things are just good, and I don't want to not have those. So I will do, but it won't be anything strenuous. And then at the point where I am in maintenance, when I've lost the weight that I want to, and then when I am in maintenance, is when I will really start to rev back up with the more walking and the exercise. But my strategy, my approach is going to be really focused on diet, really focused on fasting and all those things to get me where I want to be before I introduce other factors that will make it more difficult in terms of my appetite and all those things. So I'm a work in progress, guys. I will keep you guys posted. But thank you so much for being here today, guys. I hope that this information has been helpful to you. And I also wish you a happy, safe, and a healthy week. And I'll see you next time. Bye.